Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I thought about this a lot last night, so I'm going to stop asking how dumb the Democrats can get, because, quite frankly, they seem to be taking it as a personal challenge. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Morning. And a good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a really big fall tire sale going on right now. Stop in and see them today. And, of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jerry, you do a great job on that. Thank you, my dear friend, and hopefully...
May I make a comment before I go?
Real fast.
Okay, I want to thank the Lord that he give us such a wonderful president that's not afraid to speak his mind when we have stupid people making accusations that are just completely ridiculous.
That was well stated. Jerry, thank you. I appreciate your comment. God bless you, my dear friend.
May the Lord bless you and your whole audience.
I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Right now, let's go to the weather forecast. Thank you, Jerry. And the weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental. Roger and the crew. Roger and out. I'll tell you, they've got the best tools and equipment in the area. And if you're doing some landscaping before the bad weather hits and you need equipment, you'd better get in there. If you need excavators, if you need tillers to get those gardens rolled over before the ground gets frozen and everything, you stop in and see Roger and the crew at K&R Rental. Now, if you're not sure what you need, go in and talk to them. They can help, and they will. 678-3122 is also their number. They're located on the Burley-Paul Highway. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some weather action for today as the storm is going to be rolling through. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a special weather advisory for today due to some scattered rain showers and isolated thunderstorms that could be moving through the area, especially this afternoon. Going to be mostly cloudy skies, and some of these thunderstorms that are going to roll through could produce some very gusty winds. We are expecting a high of 66 today, and winds could gust as high as 35 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy skies for this evening. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are going to continue. Partly cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms after midnight. Going to be breezy and colder, and some of those thunderstorms could produce gusty winds in the evening. Lows expected right around 36. Tomorrow, back to sunny skies. High of about 60. Friday night, mostly cloudy skies. Expecting more rain showers in the forecast with a low of 36. And by Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast, and expecting a high of 54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by K&R Rental. Hello, crew at 256 South 600 west of Heyburn. They're easy to find right there on the Burley-Paul Highway, and they open up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Woo! They get there early to serve you. Number to call, too, is 678-3122, K&R Rental. Merv May, come on in here. How are you?
All right. Hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get all 31, 1 31, 32.
I love that chant. World's best doggone auctioneer right there at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, Merv May, along with Cade Rogge and Lance Udy at 1100. Excuse me, choked to death. 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. The sale that works for you. Sale time this morning at 10 a.m. Boy, they're going to have a ripping good sale. A lot of calves, boys. A lot of calves. Jason Parker of Twin Falls area is bringing in 20 head of steer calves weighing about 600 pounds. Carl Austin up there south of Oakley, 30 head of calves coming in. And Carl Bowden, I believe the name is, up at Malda. If I said that name wrong, I apologize. Call me and yell at me. 40 head of calves coming in. And Heath Oman of Lynn, Utah, bringing in 35 head of calves. Butcher cows coming in. Acme Dairy, P-Bar S Dairy, TLK Dairy, Funk Dairy, and like I said, sale time at 10 a.m. this morning. The sale that works for you. If you want more sale information or consignment information, 678-9411, Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Sale time today at 10 o'clock. Merv, sell those steers.
All right. Hey, good set of steer calves there. Here to get all 31, 1 31, 32, 2 and a half, 3 and a half, 134, 4 and a half, 5 and a half, 5 and a half, 135, 50, 135 and a half, selling $35. Zeb Bell, get the bottom.
Oh, man, appreciate it. Thank you, Merv. And right now, I also want to remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric. Hello. Rita's not going to be on the air with us today. She's taking a well-deserved respite away from the office and away from the radio program. She deserves it. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. And they really do have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Yep. And they're open at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. Wonderful folks that have been in business over 60 years. Wow. Ramsey Heating and Electric, serving you, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. I don't know, just about, 2 hours ago, at 8 o'clock Eastern this morning, the FBI report that had been put together again for the 7th time was given to the Senate Judiciary Committee. Now, the kind of secretive way that they are reviewing this committee report from the FBI is that they go into the center of the Capitol where there is a very safe, restricted zone, as I've been told, about 4 floors down. And I understand that they take either 1 or 2 at the most senators in to review this report at a time. And I also have been told by some people that there are overseers, videotapes, everything watching, that they do not take notes, do not take pictures, naturally don't take any portion or pages of the report. And so it's very secretive. But there has already been somewhat of a leak that basically says, and I'm not making this as a total firm commitment, but I've been told by some people I talked to prior to this program back east in D.C. that this report is not going to show any new crucial evidence against Brett Kavanaugh. Nada. Okay, if that's the case, let's get over this absolute insanity and foolishness imposed upon us by the Democrats, or the Democrats, and get the vote, which they may have on Saturday, and let's get this thing done. Deanne said last night while we were watching the news, be it as it is, you know, with all the problems in the world today, all the hazards and near misses of people that want to kill us, people that want to put us asunder, people that want to tear our country apart, North Korean issues, China issues, trade issues, military issues, etc. We are concentrating on nothing more than this sleaze that purportedly and reportedly may have taken 35 years ago, but there's no proof. There's no proof. I hope they get over this foolishness and vote and put Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. None of the listeners to this program, and of course, I'm going to be more definitive on that. My listeners on this program send me a lot of emails, and they send me a lot of their opinions, which I really, really appreciate. But on the left, no one ever calls to come on the program. Nobody sends an email unless it's nasty in its content. And they don't really talk about their platforms, their wants, their desires, especially for the entirety of the Democratic Party. Why? Because they don't have any courage. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I think the real biggest losers in this thing is going to be the women that have actually been violated. The Democrats have just kind of run them through the mud, made a disgrace of it all. You know, if they tell the truth once in a while and be honest and think of the people that they're representing, it'll sure be a lot better America.
Well, I agree with that. But Jerry,
leaders like this leading us.
I agree with you. But now I was in a conversation day before yesterday on the phone, and I got to tell you that I do not, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to stand behind my words. I do not feel any sympathy, any compassion, or anything towards the people that have made these allegations, like the first, second, and third, whether it's Ms. Ford or whether Ramirez or Steltnick and all this. I don't feel any compassion for them whatsoever because their stories are shot full of holes. Their stories are probably promoted and paid for by Soros and the very extreme left. Jerry, when you look at the stories and you look at how these things have fallen apart when they ask good, solid questions, or they don't have any corroborative evidence to prove that this happened. All this was a filthy, sleazy mess to stop Brett Kavanaugh's nomination. Do you agree or not?
Well, they've said that in the beginning. You know that. About half the senators, all the Democrats were complaining they'd do anything they could to stop.
That's right.
Brett Kavanaugh, because he was a constitutionalist. He believes in the Constitution. He believes in in America. And they don't. And that just shows holes in their wall. And as far as the lady that was testifying, if she'd have been 11-foot tall screen door, it couldn't have had more holes in it than she had.
I think the whole thing is ridiculous. I think she, Ms. Ford, listening to her testimony, I thought she was a flake, and I don't care who gets mad or upset over that statement. Jerry, I appreciate...
The Democrats made the comment, well, they didn't interview enough people. I just want to know, did they call Deanne and ask her about it?
Yeah, how many is enough? How many investigations are enough? How many different personalities?
On this earth, it wouldn't be enough.
That's right. Jerry, I got to go.
The ants and the dogs and the cats.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jerry. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. You know, I'm telling you what, those folks really care. They've got an excellent staff over there. I don't want to leave anybody out, but, our friends are over there, and Michelle and the crew, they do a super job at serving you. Thomas, of course, just wonderful, wonderful people. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and they have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Don't forget, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime, all the time. Great food, nice people. Denny's Restaurant, called America's Diner, and it's true. Again, 611 North Overland and Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. We really enjoy those good folks. Also, somebody else that we really enjoy because they help you, and they've helped me, and that's Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, please call the number, because once you call that number, you're on the way to letting them and their highly trained physical therapists help you with all the exercises, possibly the use of that hydrotherapy pool. Oh, yes, call today, 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. You know, if anybody is to blame for all of these extensions, more time wasted, more allegations, more innuendos, it's got to be Senator Jeff Flake. I have never liked Jeff Flake. I have never trusted Jeff Flake. You know, if there's ever a wussy cereal box for wussies, they're going to put Jeff Flake's picture on the cover. He is absolutely, in my opinion, the creator of the problems that are going on right now this morning, and basically being an extended arm for the Democrats as an enabler for them to come up with more and conjure up more reasons for delay. You know, he's a good buddy to Democratic Congressman, or Senator, I should say, Chris Coons. That's all well and good. I don't care who they're friends with. But it's almost like he's commingling with the Democrats to act as a slow-down device for them and help them. And they keep saying, my friends across the aisle. I don't know about you out there in Radio Land. Of course, I've got a real short German temper and everything. I admit I've got faults. But I don't want to hear Jeff Flake say, oh, my good friends across the aisle. I don't want to hear Schumer say, or Durbin, or anybody, well, of course, our friends across the aisle. No, I want to get some results for the American people. I don't care about their friends. I don't care who they go to have a beer with at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't care who they go out to dinner with on a weekend. My friends across the aisle. Stop with the friends baloney and get the job done for the American public. I really don't care if they hate each other. That might create a better situation. Might also give a stimulus for the Republicans to have a backbone. I don't have any friends across the aisle. Good, we're going to push this through. What are your thoughts? Don't you just get sick and tired of hearing that when they're, well, our friends, our associates across the aisle. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Call it what it is. I don't like those son of a guns. But they won't do that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. Don't make it a slow call day. I'll look forward to having you on the air. Don't forget the Bennett Boys Auction Service is going to have a ripping good sale coming up this Saturday at 11 o'clock. It's the Tiger and Carol Barnett and Neighbors Auction and Shoshone at 671 North, 450 West. You go north of Shoshone Johnny's Country Store. Look for all the signs. I could give you the directions. I'd forget, you'd forget. Look for the signs, okay? Lunch by the Cook Shack starts at 11 o'clock. They're going to have tractors, trucks, pickups, and trailers, all kinds of things, miscellaneous items, ATVs, you name it, it's going to be there. Bennett Boys Auction Service, Shoshone this Saturday at 11 o'clock. Tiger and Carol Barnett and Neighbors Auction. This sale managed by Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Thanks, sir.
Do you agree with me or not?
I do. I do agree with you. I mean, when he's talking to my friends across the aisle, well, Snowflake, he's never been a Trumper. He's always been an anti-Trumper.
Yep.
And how best to get back at President Trump than to side with the Democrats.
Yep.
Snowflake does not care about the American people. He doesn't care about his people in Arizona who he's supposed to represent. Only thing he cares about is me, myself, and Democrats.
I couldn't agree more. And wheels just a little bit, please. Doug, I don't care if they go out and have a beer together. I don't care if they go out and have a steak dinner together. But I don't want to hear this garbage of, oh, we reached across the aisle to my good friend. You know what? If there's a difference of opinion and there's a difference of perspective, I don't care about their friendship. Get the job done for you and me.
Exactly. They're not there to make friends and pals and buddies. They're there to represent us, the
That's
American
right.
people who voted them in. We are their employer.
Absolutely.
They work for us. They do not work for themselves. They do not work for lobbyists. They work for us.
You want to make a little bet here, a wager in front of thousands of people on the radio this morning? I don't think you're going to take this bet, but I'm going to offer it to you. I will offer you, plus some pretty good odds, a bet of your choice that after this report is all scrutinized, after they go back into their Judiciary committee, there's going to be another appliement for a delay.
They've already started that.
Yep, that's right.
They have already started it. The Democrats have no plays in their playbook. They have no plan for the American people. They have no platform to stand on when it comes to this election. The only thing they can do is drum up the uneducated voter to get them to believe them that listens to mainstream media and all the fake news or the right arm of the Democrat Party, which is mainstream media. If that's all they listen to, then they're going to vote for Democrat.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something right there, though. There's a good friend of mine that works back in D.C. at one of the think tanks back there, and I was on the phone with him not more than 15 minutes before going on the air this morning. And I asked him, I was very blunt, I said, is there going to be a blue wave in your opinion, or is it just going to be a leaky toilet? He said, Zeb, the new figures and the new polling from more than just one or two or three sources show that in the last couple of weeks, because of the Kavanaugh hearing, that a lot of people are so thoroughly disgusted that there is a big turnaround in numbers in various states against the Democrats. And he says, my feeling is they have taken the gun out of the holster and shot themselves in the foot.
Exactly. They call it the Kavanaugh bump. And I've seen it, too, this morning. I've seen in Tennessee, Republican support is up 18% above Democratic support.
Yeah.
When 2 weeks ago, it was a dead heat, or Democrats was ahead about 2%. That's a big swing in 2 weeks.
But the main point is, Doug, and then I've got to run, if we are so lazy and we are so naive that we, here in Idaho, do not go to the polls, we deserve all the heartache and all the misery that we may get.
Exactly. Just remember this. If you stay home, you're voting for a Democrat.
That's right.
That's the best way to put it.
Yep. And I'm going to.
I got a favor to ask real quick.
Real quick.
Viewers. I'm putting some donations together for the Minidoka Senior Center for a raffle they're having 1st of December. And I've found an object it's a motor for a car that costs about $370. And any business out there that want to step up and help me get some stuff for the drawings for the Minidoka Senior Center for their raffle in December, give me a call at 878-4991.
Okay. All right.
I thank you, Zeb.
No, that's fine. And by the way, I saw you yesterday, but prior to that, I just caught a glimpse of your wife driving through a parking lot. I didn't get a chance to say hello to her. Tell her I said hi.
I will.
All right, my friend.
Why were you tailgating me? That's what I want to ask.
I wasn't tailgating you. You're the one that passed me so fast, the exhaust fumes darkened my windshield.
Well, you're driving a Ford and I had a Chevy. That explains a lot of it.
Bye, Doug.
Bye, then.
See you later. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Stokes Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer, and every Tuesday at 9:46 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. We have Stokes Equipment presenting the Ag Minutes with Vic. Oh, they do a great job. Easy to find, 119 Overland in Burley, and believe me, service and just excellent people serving you. They do make your life easier. At Stokes Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, this mess, and it is a mess, going on in Washington, it's got to stop. It has got to stop, and we need to have that chair filled with this nominee for the Supreme Court, Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Nobody is going to tell me, nobody is going to try to teach me that after all the years of being a judge, after all the years of being involved in the legal business and profession, that all of a sudden these innuendos and supposed allegations are going to come to the forefront in the 11th hour before a vote for the Supreme Court, and it's just, by accident. I'm not buying that horse. I'm not buying that horse. This whole thing is a constructive plan by the Democrats to delay and resist and fight and minimize Donald Trump's administration. That's it, pure and simple. I hope it turns around like a junkyard dog and bites him. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear about the Democratic staffer? This is a story that is really going to gain some traction over the next couple of days. They caught this young man. He's in his 20s, I believe. And he's a Democratic staffer now working for Democrat Sheila Jackson Lee. And he was the creep that was leaking the personal information of Republican senators, putting on their addresses and their cell phone numbers and everything to the world. And when they caught him, this creep thought he was above everybody and the law. And did you happen to catch his arrest photo when they booked him? It was nothing more than a sneering, smiling, contemptuous, just absolutely I'm holy, don't touch me attitude. Can you believe this? He was literally jeopardizing Republican senators with their home addresses, their cell phone numbers, etc. I hope they throw the book at him. And I mean this. I just hope they make an example out of him and lock the door, but forget where they put the key. And the thing that really bothered me about this whole story, he's a former Navy veteran, knows better, should have more respect and love for his country than what he did. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call, please. I love hearing from you folks in the morning. Dave, don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. And, of course, the Burley location, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. And, by the way, if he didn't hear it yesterday, I'll say it again today. Last time I'm going to say this because it hurts. His Milwaukee Brewers defeated my Chicago Cubs. And then the Cubs lost to the Rockies, and the Brewers took over the pennant for that division. Okay, Juan, you beat me. And the other location, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, with Eli and the Napa location. They've got all the big equipment you need. You better believe it, they got all the Bobcats. And by the way, I want to say this, that they've got all the new and used Bobcats, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, and they've got 0% interest up to 60 months, 60 months on Bobcat right now. You get in there and check it out. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, all of this at Berry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. All right, come on, folks. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd love to hear what you have to say about these things. Here's a little kind of a personal note. I was sitting in a parking lot yesterday waiting for my wife. And we have discussed this in the past, but wow. I almost saw a tragedy upon tragedy. Why is it when people get into these parking lots, do they have to drive so doggone fast? I mean, it's almost as if it's a Great Escape. It's not a NASCAR track in there. I was waiting for Deanne. And about 2 rows over, I noticed a mom getting out of the car and 2 little kids in the back seat. One evidently was in a baby carrier. The other one was strapped in on the other side. She got the kids out of there. She just barely had shut the doors and walked to the back of the car, and a car went by at like, I'm not even going to guesstimate the speed in that parking lot, but it was like, oh, the mother just kind of fell back on the hood of the car holding those 2 children. What is it with these people that want to speed through these parking lots? I was in a parking lot in Twin a couple of months ago, leaving the parking lot, and a car came from not the thoroughfare, but one of the side cuts, and was going so fast, he about tore the front end of my truck off. People, you don't see a checkered flag anywhere in those parking lots. They're not going to give you a trophy. They're not going to have a confetti winner's circle parade. Slow down. Somebody's going to get hurt. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I chuckle because I want somebody to give me a call. I'm just feel lonesome here this morning, but it does give me a little opportunity while I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in right now to talk about Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors. This is such a neat idea. And Holly Rowe, congratulations. Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors, 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley. You know, if you're a senior and you want to stay at home, I don't blame you. I mean, after all, come on, that's your home. And you need maybe a little help, you know, maybe a little personal assistance with like meal preparation and some of the daily tasks that go on in your home, or maybe light housekeeping, or maybe just having some companionship for a little bit of time. Why don't you call Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors? The number to call, 312-5715. That number again, 312-5715, or go to Holly at heartsforseniors.net. You give them a call, 312-5715. Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors. Caller, good morning to you.
About pulling into a parking lot and parking. We did that yesterday at Walmart. We had this Ford 3/4 ton parked right next to us. And boy, I'll tell you, he was gone before I ever seen him.
Well, now, first of all, you've got some misinformation. It wasn't a 3/4 ton, so evidently you didn't look close enough.
Oh, no, it's 1 ton. I take that back.
Now, listen, you old geezer. I was there, and I didn't recognize you or your lovely wife till I had backed out of the spot. I said hello to your lovely wife, but you, of course, had your nose so far up in the air, if it rained, you would have drowned. I did not get a chance to say hello to you.
And there wasn't one drop of water in the car with me, so I couldn't have drowned. Maybe with a cup of coffee.
Okay. No, I apologize, Jerry.
I just want wanted you to know sometimes you get out there pretty quick, too.
Not.
So you weren't speeding.
I do not speed.
Under 5 miles an hour. I'm just slow.
Okay, but no, I had a chance to say hello to her quickly as I was backing out because, man, when you back out of a space, you better darn sure have a plan of escape.
Well, that's for sure, especially at Walmart.
Okay.
You got people coming every direction, cars, and, if I didn't know better, I think maybe there were even planes in there.
Oh, my goodness. Well, listen, I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to come over, shake your hand, and ask you for your vote and everything else, so I apologize.
Well, I would ask you if they'd called you on this investigation.
Well, there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes right now, Jerry, that are very, very scary and spooky, but I really appreciated the fact that I didn't get a chance to say hello, but my heart was in the right place. Thank you so much.
I understand that. And, I'm sure that this investigation will be buried. We'll never see it because the Democrats are not going to let it out. There's too much there that would destroy them.
I agree.
Worse than they've already been destroyed by their own foolish mistakes.
I appreciate your call, old buddy. Thank you so much.
You bet. You have a
all right.
day.
Thank
May
you.
the Lord bless.
Thank you. I have another question for you folks out there this morning. There's been some stories. You probably read them and or heard them, especially on the news sources that hate Trump, like MSNBC. Oh, my goodness. Those reporters on MSNBC, every time they get an anti-Trump story, they relish it. I mean, they just absolutely, their hair's on fire. They can't wait to get in front of the cameras and say, oh, did you hear that? I mean, these people just relish tearing apart our president and his administration. But now, and I really thought about this, there is a story out that Donald Trump's father had gifted his children, including Donald, millions of dollars while he was still alive. And the Democrats and the liberals and the news media are going, oh, this must have been something secretive. This must have been something against the law. This was something that probably avoided the taxation necessary. They start making up all these stories. Now, first of all, let me ask you this. Do you really care about the supposed gifting of money from Donald Trump's father to him? Do you really care? Do you care if it might have been they were a wealthy family and they worked hard in various aspects of whether it was real estate, construction, whatever the case might be? Do you really care if he was gifted money from his father? Do you really care if they did it in a legal fashion and it was done within the tax structures that are necessary? Do you really care? And why would they, the Trump family, be more subjected to criticism for the gifting of money from a father to his children, more so than the Kennedys or maybe Bill and Hillary, etc.? Now, the Kennedys, with old Joe, the father, there were a lot of things that were looked at and scrutinized as far as, where'd all the money come from? Where'd all the money go? Who got paid? Who didn't? Etc. But all of a sudden, it's much more critical today to go into and tear apart the supposed gifting of the father to the son with the Trump family. He's a multi-billionaire. Do you really care where and how the money of his father got to him? Really? It doesn't bother me at all. Maybe I'm overlooking something. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. All right, let's do a weather forecast, and then we're going to liven things up a little bit. I hope. And I want to have the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call, 312-0957. Now, I'll tell you what, they promise to provide comprehensive treatment for hearing loss. They will present all your treatment options and with great scientific reasoning for their recommendations. They know hearing, and they can help you. All you need to do is make the initial response of calling and making an appointment at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Here now, Gina with the weather.
Expect some weather action for today as the storm is going to be rolling through. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a special weather advisory for today due to some scattered rain showers and isolated thunderstorms that could be moving through the area, especially this afternoon. Going to be mostly cloudy skies, and some of these thunderstorms that are going to roll through could produce some very gusty winds. We are expecting a high of 66 today, and winds could gust as high as 35 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy skies for this evening. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are going to continue. Partly cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms after midnight. Going to be breezy and colder, and some of those thunderstorms could produce gusty winds in the evening. Lows expected right around 36. Tomorrow, back to sunny skies. High of about 60. Friday night, mostly cloudy skies. Expecting more rain showers in the forecast with a low of 36. And by Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast, and expecting a high of 54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. They really care, and they will really help your hearing problems. Please call for an appointment today at 312-0957. Well, thank you. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is Willie from Utah.
Hello, Willie.
Well, on this Kavanaugh thing, I wish they'd go ahead and have the vote. And if he doesn't pass, then I think any Republicans who voted against him, I think they ought to be called out by Trump himself and said, these guys deserve to be replaced, Anyway.
Well, and wait a minute. What you said is really kind of a factual statement that's happening right now, because we're seeing a lot of transition in thinking with Trump going around the country, whether it's in Mississippi or I think he's going to be speaking in Minnesota tonight. And we're seeing some transitioning from the blue that has always run through a certain area to a red, because, boy, the polls have changed in the last couple of days.
Oh, I agree, and I think even more than since the time for primaries has passed, it'd be even better if he called out the Democrats that vote against Kavanaugh and said, y'all voted 98-0 a few years ago to appoint this guy to the appellate court, and now all of a sudden he's just absolutely this horrible person. We need a Republican to take your seat.
Absolutely.
If Kavanaugh does not pass the vote, I would be tickled to death if Senator Mike Lee were next nominated, because Mike Lee is probably the kind of guy who never had sex before he was married, maybe has never had a beer in his life, and that would be hilarious to have a confirmation hearing on him. And I think the Democrats' take then would be, well, he's out of touch with reality. I mean, this guy's too good to be true, and he's not a real person, and it would be really funny, if they want to hold people to Sunday school teacher standards to be on the Supreme Court. Well, here's one.
I'll tell you what. I will say this. I will say this, that if you could reincarnate Billy Graham, and he was a judge, and Trump put his name up for nomination, the Democrats would find something wrong with him, too.
Oh, absolutely. But anyway, it's amusing to watch it, but I just wish they'd, get the vote over with, and then I think that the ones who vote no on it will be punished at the polls. I really do.
I agree. I got to run. I got another call, but I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
This is the Yummy Man from Senior Junction on South Overland in Burley, Idaho.
Hello, Yummy Man.
Today we're having beef stroganoff, mixed vegetable, jello, and we'll have some fruit also, and home-baked cookies.
Oh, okay. Now, what kind of yummy cookies are you going to have?
I forgot what tomorrow is, but everybody's welcome. The best value for a meal in town on South Overland, just before you get to the cemetery on the left-hand side.
All right. Well, Joe, we'll send everybody over to the Senior Junction, and I understand that they're arranging to have an autograph session with you over there where you sign your name, the Yummy Man.
That's right.
Okay. God bless you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. I appreciate you.
You betcha. Joe Taylor, good friend, talking about the Senior Junction. Great food over there. And you're all welcome, absolutely. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. All the while that this Kavanaugh story is in the news front, and the liberals are, going around with hairspray, setting their hair on fire, going, he can't be on the Supreme Court. Oh, no, we can't have him. All the while this is going on, Keith Ellison, Muslim Democrat from Minnesota, is taking a cakewalk for possible charges of assault and battery, etc., against his girlfriend. And the DNC is trying to cover it up. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, just a quick comment. I did hear when this first came out about this this money given to the Trump children, that the IRS had signed off on this years ago, so that there shouldn't even be an investigation.
Doesn't this just drive you nuts, though, that somebody is sitting in a dark basement with one bare light bulb over their head, trying to conjure up all these different negative stories that the MSNBCs and CNN are going to run with? I don't care what his dad gave him for money. I care about how he acts as president to help you and I.
I totally agree, and keep up the good work, Donald.
God bless you. Thank you. Oh, it was some of these newscasters. There was a guy on CNN yesterday, and honestly, Deanna and I were having our lunch. And he came on and he made the statement that I cry myself to sleep every night worrying about Brett Kavanaugh being on the Supreme Court. This is a full-grown man looking at a camera and saying, I cry myself to sleep every night worrying about Brett Kavanaugh getting on the Supreme Court. Wow. That would be, to me, the most embarrassing thing that you could ever do to you and your life, is to stand in front of millions and I cry myself to sleep. Oh, for Pete's sakes. You talk about wussies? Look at this guy. Look at Jeff Flake and the rest of them. Absolute wussies. They're not men. They're not John Wayne types. They're nothing. They are absolute willows in the wind that'll bend every way and every which way to hate and get all kinds of action against President Trump. I cry myself to sleep every night. Oh, my gosh. Glad I hadn't ate anything before I went to bed. I'd been sick. Don't forget a great big fall tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and believe me, they've got the best of passenger car tires, pickup and SUV tires, and many of which are on sale right now for the tires you need for your style of driving. Absolutely. You get in there and check it out today, and don't forget to check out all the batteries. Believe me, this time of the year you want to make sure you've got a really good battery, and they've got them all at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Center. centers, along with the best of service. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin. Twin, there's a W in there. Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. I got 1 minute left. Go.
It shouldn't take that long. Good morning. You know, what parent that has money and has kids that can do it does not help their child set up business, college, whatever?
Amen. Amen.
So why is that an issue? Why is it a problem? Just because it has more zeros on it behind more than what most of us have should not make a difference.
Oh, but contraire.
You do it.
Oh, contraire, the Democrats, they're burning in hatred right now because there had to be some kind of tax evasion. There had to be some kind of miscue as far as doing something illegal. I don't care what the dad gifted Donald Trump.
Yeah. How many of them have given their kids something?
Yeah.
And besides that, if we were to start scrutinizing where their money is coming from, I think it would be a whole different ballgame.
There you go, lady. I appreciate your call. God bless you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Caller, I've got 30 seconds left. Real quick.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. You know, I don't know how we're going to fix this mess in Washington. Flake needs to man up and put his big boy pants on and quit caving. They need to leave Donald Trump alone. Who cares what he did, 15, 20 years ago? He was a private citizen. That's all I got to say.
God bless your thoughts. Have a great day, and thank you very much.
You betcha.
All right. Got to run to the news, and we'll be back in about 7 minutes. Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away. Good morning. Kind of a overcast morning out there. Wheels is running the board over at the station, and me 35 miles away, I'm sitting here in my studio. And good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and a big fall tire sale going on right now. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to go over to the Chamber of Commerce in just a moment. Stand by. But right now I also want to say and really appreciate Joel Heward, his family, and his staff at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. These are really wonderful, caring people that absolutely acknowledge that they have a solemn responsibility to provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call them. We all should help in the pre-planning of funerals to make sure that we help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. Call them 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Ark Animal Hospital. You know, I urge you to get the ID tags for your pets. No kidding. Your pet may run away. Something might scare it, whatever. Use a marker to write your phone number on their collar. I mean, watch out for your pets. Kitty cats, dogs, everything. And they really care for them and help their health at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. Believe me, Dr. Bill, Dr. Jordan, the entire crew, they really care about your animals. They take care of them, and if there's any questions, they'll answer your questions. Please call them today, 678-1177. That number again, 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital, they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Okay, buckle up, look out. 3, 2, 1, take off. Here's Sarah from the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce.
I tried calling over there, sir, and I wasn't able to reach anybody, unfortunately. I'm still trying, but...
You got to be kidding me.
Message about it, yep.
679-4793, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, keep trying if you would.
will do.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know what happened, but they're supposed to be on the air with us right now this morning. And in just a very few minutes, we're also going to be going over to visit with more of our friends at Cassia Regional Hospital. So all of this coming up. And then we do have change this morning at 9:30. We're going to be having the lovely Rita Ramsey be replaced by well, I'm not going to say he's lovely, but he's pretty doggone good, and that's, of course, Senator Kelly Anthon at 9:30. So I've got time for a couple of calls. Give us a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I have just a moment, too, I want to remind you about our friends over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And I believe next week we're going to be having old Jeff back on our program again and talking about more of the great fall things to do with your home. I mean, the beautification of your home, and I'm going to create a new word here, the comfortization of your home. All of this through Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness, all the window coverings, 40% off. And, of course, all the carpeting and the luxury vinyl flooring, all the mattresses. They've got a closeout on certain mattresses and special prices on furniture. You better check it out today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland and Burley. If you want to, you can give them a call, 878-2341. Calls welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's see, what else have I got? This actress, Melissa Milano, I think that's her name, Alyssa Milano. I'm trying to think, wasn't she the actress that starred in My Cousin Vinny? And she's really taken a feminist stance against men. She says, and I'm reading some of her quotes here this morning, I'm filled with a lot of rage today. And she's referring to the possible vote and appointment of Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. And she said, also, men are having a hard time right now. I mean, come on, I feel as though Trump completely and totally belittling the intelligence of the American people. And basically, she's blaming Trump for all of the problems that the Democrats are feeling right now. And let's see, I want to go down here to this. I'm not sure if you were able to have a real conversation with any American, whether they be Democrat or Republican, that they would side with this kind of behavior. Wait a minute, Alyssa. It's the Democrats' behavior that's causing all the problems. They're having all the riots. They're doing all the anti-Trump meetings and everything to hurt Judge Kavanaugh. Maybe she shouldn't start hating men so much, and maybe she should start hating her own party. Alyssa Milano. News note. I know that a couple of news stories on various networks, MSNBC and I think CNN, they carried a little bit about her and her rage against the white men in politics. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Let's also give a great big shout-out and thank you to our friends over at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And I'll tell you, kind of a mix between seasons right now. They, of course, have all the four-wheelers. You know, I mean, man, I don't know how they crammed everything into that showroom. And also the snowmobiles. Yeah, we got two different seasons kind of smacking into each other. You can still get up on the mountain and enjoy all the beautiful fall colors on your ATV. And then don't forget, the angel dandruff will be falling soon and the snow machines. They've got it all for you at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Great accessory department and, of course, a super service department to keep you running at Let's Ride. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, what is the matter with some of these dumb women? Don't they know that if there hadn't been a man around, they wouldn't be around?
I'm not not going to phrase it that way, Bob, and I know you don't mean it. You're saying it facetiously, but there are certain aspects of this women's movement, this feminist movement, where they want to be holier than thou, and it's the anti-men and scourge of mankind. I'm fed up with it, and it's about time we got back to respecting each other. Men have a place in society on how they should treat women and vice versa.
You're absolutely right, but some of these women, my word, they can't see beyond the length of their nose.
Well, it's becoming obvious when you watch certain television shows like maybe The View with Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, it's complete insanity about their hatred for white men.
Yeah. Well, have a good day, Zeb.
All right, my friend. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. I don't know what happened to our people with the Chamber of Commerce, but we had to forego that for this morning. Evidently, they've closed the office for some reason. I don't know, and we couldn't reach anyone, but thank you very much. Right now, I believe Wheels is ready for our interview with some really, really nice people, informed people, and helpful people, your friends and neighbors at Cassia Regional Hospital. Wheels, if you would, please.
People caring about you and your health care in the most professional and progressive ways. That's Cassia Regional Hospital, located at 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. In a moment, we'll introduce you to just one of the many dedicated medical experts serving you at Cassia Regional Hospital. Today's program, right after this. Cassia Regional Hospital provides you and your family excellent health care answers and services. They're right here, close to home. That's right. Cassia Regional Hospital offers the latest technological advances in medicine, like their new oncology programs and telehealth, which uses electronic information and telecommunications to promote long-distance patient and clinical health care. Your friends, your neighbors. Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care, close to home. Good morning again, everybody, and we have a chance to meet more of the great people connected to the services of Cassia Regional Hospital. And we have Mr. Scott Butler, a paramedic at Cassia Regional Hospital, and he's going to be talking about sleep in heavenly peace. What in the world is this, Scott? Give us an exclamation.
You know, we have an opportunity to provide a very unique service for our communities, and that is that we provide beds for children that do not have a bed.
All right, and you provide beds for children that do not have a bed. How in the world do you go about finding out whether or not they have these facilities?
You know, we work with a lot of the local organizations that kind of provide names, but over the years we've developed a website that's called SHPbeds.org, and anybody can go on that website and they can volunteer their time, they can volunteer funds, or they can request a bed, and it's really that simple. They just put in their name, fill out a simple questionnaire, and that creates a request for me. We get that request in, and then we can go ahead and get those beds to those kids.
You know, Scott, this is really something in this day and age when everybody's talking about either going boating or camping or taking off on a vacation to Cancun. There really are that many children that do not have beds?
There really is. You know, it's something that we didn't even feel that was really a need. I think it's something that a lot of people take for granted, you know, something as simple as a good night's rest. But we found that over the years, we started back in 2012 right here in Twin Falls, and we are now nationwide. We have over 100 chapters. And in Twin Falls alone, we get at least one request every single day requesting a bed. And most of those requests are for usually a full bunk, so usually 2 kids, sometimes 3. We've delivered up to 3 full bunks to a house before, and that's 6 kids. That's 6 kids that were sleeping on the floor.
You know, I hate to ask or, categorize different things, lump it all together, because I'm sure every instance is different. But are these from families that are really down and out and, quite frankly, having a hard time? Give us kind of a discernment as to how you find these people and what kind of problems the families are having.
You know, that's pretty much, you hit it right on the head there. People just have a rough time sometimes, and I would say that I see a lot more applications come from single-parent households. You know, something's happened in their life that causes them to, power and electricity and a place to live burns up their funds. And so a bed, you go out to the store and you want to buy a bunk bed, you're looking at $1,000 for a cheap one.
Yeah.
And we can provide this service for them. And the best thing about what we do is we provide the whole thing. It's not just the frame. We provide 2 beds, 2 mattresses, 2 sheet sets, 2 pillows, 2 comforters, and we are very lucky to have a lot of local groups that donate quilts, handmade quilts. And when you deliver a handmade bed with a handmade quilt, there's a special feeling there. I mean, this is people's time. This is their effort to help get a kid off the floor.
I got to ask you something, Scott. You and I were talking prior to this program that you knew me and your name sounded familiar and everything. How in the world did you, Scott Butler, get involved in this very worthwhile project?
That is a great question. So a bunch of us redneck hillbillies, I don't know what you want to call it, kids from Kimberly, Idaho that graduated the class in 1996. 20 years later, Luke Mickelson, one of our, star quarterback, great basketball player, just one of those great guys that, was really involved, felt a need, heard about it through a local church group, saying, hey, we need a bed for a family. Does anybody have an extra bed? And he thought, you know what, this can't be that hard. I can make it. So he went ahead and he built 1 bed. They delivered it. He had some material left over. He built some more, and he put a simple request on Facebook, and that request was, hey, can anybody come and give me a hand finishing these beds? And so, little by little, a few of us got involved. Hey, Luke, gosh, man, it's been forever since we've got together. Can I come over and help? And that spread. And here we are today, 2012 is where it started. We're 2018. We're across the nation, and we're providing beds.
This is amazing. I'm sitting here going, holy cow. You mean to tell me this started with an idea and a concept in Kimberly, Idaho, and now it's spread all across the nation? Tell us more about that expansion.
So last year, again, just a vision. We all thought, you know what, if there's kids in our town that don't have a bed, there has got to be kids in everybody's town. And our motto is no kid sleeps on the floor in my town. And that motto, we got contacted by, I don't know if you've heard of Mike Rowe.
Yes.
Dirty Jobs, Mike
yes.
Rowe. So he does a new Facebook show. It's called Returning the Favor, and they contacted us last October, and kind of a weird probing phone call that, again, people want to know about what we do. And so I answered the questions, and about 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from a lady in New York City that was with Hudson Media Group, and she said, hey, we've chosen you as the insider. What can we do for you? And when somebody asks a nonprofit, what can we do for you, it's endless.
Oh, my
the
goodness.
ideas that run through your brain about how to further your work, how to further what you do. It was a decision that was very difficult. But one of the things we didn't really have was we didn't have a face of SHP. We worked out of a very generously donated shop in Kimberly, Idaho that was working beautiful for what we had, but for our growth and where we wanted to take SHP, we needed something a little bit bigger. We needed to be able to, host some trainings and stuff to get this across the country. And as of about 2 weeks ago, we announced our 100th chapter.
Oh, my goodness.
And the show aired back in March, and since March of 2018 this year, the expansion has been incredible.
You know what I like about this whole situation, Scott, is that I can hear in your voice the enthusiasm and the, boy, we got to do more, we can do more attitude. quickly, with the time remaining, what is your connection, if you would please, to Cassia Regional Hospital? I know that you're a paramedic. Explain that quickly.
So I was, quickly. I was a paramedic in Twin Falls for about 10 years, Twin Falls and Jerome counties, and I got the opportunity presented to me to come to Cassia and help them up their level of service, shall we say. We went from an EMT level service to now we are a paramedic level service to provide better care to our residents, to the people that live in Cassia County. And so that's pretty much what I'm doing here is I came over here for that, and I am super excited to be able to bring just another aspect of what I do in my life, to be able to share this passion for building beds, for getting kids off the floor.
If anyone wants to contribute, help, or whatever, what is a good number or time to reach you?
So my phone number is a great place. Unfortunately, I don't answer. I get a lot of phone calls, so if people leave me a message, it's great. But my phone number is 208-320-0052, and we would love to have everybody come out. Anybody that's willing to donate or willing to come out and serve a little bit of time. It's going to be September 29th from 9 to noon here at the Cassia Regional Hospital.
Wow. I am excited about what you're doing, Scott. And, of course, Scott is president of Sleep in Heavenly Peace, Kimberly Chapter, and also a paramedic at Cassia Regional Hospital. Thank you, Scott Butler, and I'm definitely going to have you back on the program. Thank you for being on the show.
Indeed. Thank you, Zeb, for having me.
Tune in every Thursday at 9:18 right here on Zeb at the Ranch for more about the people and the healthcare services at your Cassia Regional Hospital, 1501 Highland Avenue in Burley. Quality care close to home.
You know, we ran that show. You probably noticed out there in the audience, that was a replay of Scott Butler and the segment on the beds with Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And we did that on purpose. So we had a lot of people that listened to it the first time, and they said they want to listen to it again because they wanted to see about contributing and helping. And Scott Butler with Sleep in Heavenly Peace. What a magnificent, wonderful story of helping people. And, of course, all of that connected to your friends, your neighbors at Cassia Regional Hospital. Excellent story, and we wanted to replay that. Some of the folks that had called and asked that we replay it said they only caught a portion of it or whatever, so there you have it again this morning. Thank you. Let's see, what else have we got here? Okay, let's mention this quickly. That I got a note from Chuck Driscoll at the Veteran Service Office at 625 Fremont Avenue in Rupert. They have new office hours for the Mini-Cassia Veteran Service Office. The Mini-Cassia Veteran Service Office has instituted new office hours as of October 1st this week. The office will now be open to serve veterans and their families Monday through Thursday from 11 o'clock to 5 p.m. The Mini-Cassia Veteran Service Office is located at 625 Fremont Avenue in Rupert, and appointments for regular hours as well as for other times may be made by calling 678-3599. I'll repeat that number again, 678-355, pardon, I made a mistake, 678-3599. And the Veterans Service Office is pleased to serve the veterans of this community. So, that from Chuck Driscoll, and that number again, 678-3599. There you go. Don't forget our friends, too, at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my, the very best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more for you, your family, and your business. I really appreciate them. They're very dedicated and responsive to your needs. All you need to do is just pick up the phone and call 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. You get a hold of those good folks today. One more good word, and then we're going to go right to Senator Kelly Anthon. But I want to remind you about a big sale that is going to be taking place on this Saturday, and it is the Tiger and Carol Barnett and Neighbors auction up in Shoshone. Now, actually, it's from Johnny's Country Store, north of Shoshone. Look for the signs. I could tell you all the different turns, but look for the signs. Plenty of signage, and this sale managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. It's going to start at 11 o'clock on this Saturday morning. Tractors, trucks, pickups, ATVs, trailers, farm equipment, all kinds of interesting things, and a lot of neighbors' consignments coming in. This sale managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service, Joe Bennett and the crew. It's going to be Saturday morning, October 6th, this weekend, 11 o'clock, up north of Shoshone. Look for the signs. Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, yep, they sell them all. Let's check with Wheels over at our main studios. And do we have Senator Anthon on the phone?
Yes, sir, we do.
Wheels, you have provided good news for a change this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Senator Kelly Anthon, thank you for taking the time to come on our program this morning, sir. You are always welcome. What's going on in your world?
It's always a pleasure. And there's lots of good news. There's always good news.
Yeah, there is a lot of good news. Let me ask you this.
Paper and we wonder, but there's always good news.
Let me ask you this real quick this morning, Kelly, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but as a lawyer and knowing the ins and outs of legalese, etc., and now a state senator for the state of Idaho, what are your thoughts about the foot-dragging, knuckle-dragging that's going on in the Brett Kavanaugh nomination for the Supreme Court?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching that with a lot of interest, Zeb. As a matter of fact, I watched the initial hearing before the accusations with Brett Kavanaugh, and I will tell you, I was utterly disgusted by that hearing. I mean, the lack of decorum, the lack of respect, the shouting from the back. There's a time and a place for protest, but it was constant interruption and stonewalling. It was despicable to me. And I will tell you, if you want to see, and I hope that we never get like that in Idaho, but if you want to see how a committee meetings run, come to the Idaho State Senate. Mm-hmm. And we are a group who often disagree. So one of my initial responses to it, Zeb, is we need to remember that reasonable minds can disagree, and that we don't need to be acting like that. That's my first kind of thought. But this is a political move. These are political moves to prevent a conservative justice who believes in following what the Constitution actually says get onto the bench. And it's a move to delay in order to get through the next election. So I think that's what's going on back there. And the behavior is just terrible.
The behavior has been, like you said, just terrible. But what really is deplorable to me is what it has done to a man, his family, his children, his associates, his job, etc. I don't see how, if they vote no against this man, what kind of a life has he got left?
Well, I agree, Zeb. And, I've been thinking about this on a broader kind of perspective as well. As Americans, we really need to turn inward and start asking questions like, are we really going to stand up for the principle that you are not guilty until you are proven to be guilty? And under the Constitution and our laws, that's by your peers in a court setting by a jury. This is the backbone of our justice system. And so are we going away from that? Is that what we have ascribed to? Mm-hmm. I mean, we need to turn inward on that. There are a whole host of these things. The rule of law. Are we going to be a nation of laws, or are we going to be a banana republic, which is run by dictators and political operatives? What kind of country do we want? This is one of those moments that's made me pause and ask some of these questions. And there's this concept of rule of law spills into a lot of things. I mean, you take your sanctuary cities. We have federal immigration laws, and those federal immigration laws are not being upheld. They're not being enforced. And not only that, but there are now cities who openly vote to say we're not going to follow the law. So are we a nation of laws or not?
Absolutely.
You take the marijuana issue, which is the same issue. We have conflicting laws over marijuana throughout the nation. Some states, of course, are allowing that to be used recreationally, even though the federal law says you can't do that. And so we're going in a direction. Now, however you believe on these issues, put that aside for a moment now and ask, is this the kind of situation we want where there is no rule of law? That's a real concern of mine, Zeb. I'm glad you asked. I think we need to be talking about it.
Well, let me ask you this, and you've touched on something I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on. I wasn't going to take a lot of time on this, but marijuana and the relaxing, that's the word that seems to be prevalent, the relaxing of the law on the usage of marijuana. I'm just going to say this. Are we going to relax on other laws? Oh, well, you were doing 80 and a 35, so we're going to relax it a little bit, and we're just going to give you a slap on the wrist. Are we going to relax the law a little bit when you steal a bag of money out of the bank? Well, it was under $5,000, so we're going to relax the law. What about Paulette Jordan? She wants to relax the law on marijuana, which I think is nothing more than a gateway drug, and she might become governor of the state of Idaho. This is not a relaxing that I want.
Well, to your listeners, I would say do your homework. Take a look at what Paulette Jordan has been saying that she wants for Idaho. And look at the way she's shifted her position on the Second Amendment as an example. Take a look at the Democrats' platform in the state of Idaho. I'm not talking about the national platform. I'm talking about your Idaho Democrats, what they say is good for Idaho, and see if that lines up with your values. Let me touch on marijuana real quick, Zeb, and I know you don't want to spend lots of time on this, but when I took office, and I've repeated it many, many times, I promised the people in the Mini-Cassia area a real simple test for how I would approach dealing with legislative matters. And here's what it is. I would ask at every stage of a piece of legislation, is this good for the Idaho family? Now, I know there are many of my colleagues, even in the Republican Party, I know this will be hard for some of your listeners to believe. There's a faction inside the Republican Party that's pushing hard for legalizing all drugs. They're more of a libertarian streak. They've got some philosophy behind it, and they've got some compelling arguments. But what my position would be, and what I would ask your listeners to think about as you hear these arguments, is ask yourself that question. Is legalization of marijuana in the state of Idaho good for the Idaho family? Is that good? Is that going to be good for us? Is that going to be good for kids? I just read in the newspaper yesterday, there's a new study out that shows adolescent use or teenage use of marijuana actually does permanent damage throughout your whole life and your capacity to think and reason.
Yes.
We need to be thinking really hard, not just about whether or not you have a right to smoke marijuana, but under what circumstances is this going to be good for us as a culture, good for us as taxpayers, good for us in the fiber of what kind of culture and society we have. I'm just not there. I'm not ready to pile on to legalizing marijuana in the state of Idaho. I'm not going to do that.
What about Kelly? Kelly, what about you said just a moment ago that there are some on the Republican side of the aisle that want legalization of drugs. Is there a more definitive way you can describe that? I mean, when you start talking about legalization of drugs, I'm seeing a hell-bent for going downhill society with no morals, no values, etc. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. But those folks would tell you, Zeb, that, and this is where we have to be very, very reasonable in our thinking. And what they will tell you is there's nothing in the Constitution that says I can't take in this substance. It's none of the government's business to tell me I can't take in this substance. So it's a very far, what I might call far-right position. But it also, by the way, lines up with the most liberal Democrats. And so I don't mean to demean these folks that think this way, because what I've found is that they are very sincere about their love of the United States Constitution, which I share with them. I'm just saying I've had to engage some of my own thinking and talk about what's really good for, in my opinion, my community. And I've spent time as a prosecutor. I've spent time as a public defender. I've spent time volunteering with my church. And I'm here to tell you that marijuana is not good for a family. It's not. Now, what we're also seeing, Zeb, to that point, and again, I didn't want to spend too much time on this, but we are also seeing the rise of the use of marijuana derivatives in medical treatments. That's a whole different issue to me. And so, this is a very nuanced deal, but I'm talking about the outright just legalization for recreational use of marijuana. I'm not going to support. I think that what we should be looking at is how we can, as a state, get the benefits of some of these derivatives from marijuana for medical treatment without causing a train wreck in the state.
I absolutely like the way that you stated that, and I'd like to spend more time on that, but I need the time remaining to talk about Propositions 1 and 2. Kelly, I'm kind of a lead pipe cinch that I am going to vote yes on Proposition 1, the help to restore horse racing in the state of Idaho. I think it's going to do so much more. It's not just a gambling issue to me whatsoever. It's an issue to help the horse industry in the state of Idaho grow and prosper again. People that think it's just a gambling issue are wrong. They're wrong, and they're perpetrating the wrongness of that thought. We need the money for the horse industry. The horse industry across the board in the United States was one of the top 5 agricultural commodities, if you will, and the horse industry the last couple of years has really been suffering. This would help the horse industry. It would help the trailer sales, the tag sales, the feed sales, everything. Am I wrong on Prop 1?
You're not wrong on Prop 1, and Zeb, as you probably know a little bit about me, I'm pretty near, and I'm near and dear to the horse industry in my family quite a bit as well. But let me talk through some of the points you make, because I think they're important. And I will tell you, and your listeners who know me know this too, I'm not a gambler. I'm not big into gambling. But if you get educated on this issue, what you realize is that our Idaho Constitution already outlines what is legal and not legal with regard to gambling. It's Article 3, Section 20, if anybody wants to go look it up. But what it says is that in Idaho, and this is part of our Constitution, this goes way back, that parimutuel betting is legal. That's horse race betting, essentially. And so what has happened to over the years, as I understand it, was that there was a move to put some of this parimutuel betting into a machine-type setting so that you could, like you said, provide more money to the industry and keep that going, and keep the horse industry and the horse trade and all the things you mentioned going. Now, what also it says in Article 3, Section 20 of the Idaho Constitution specifically is that slot machines are not legal. And so even if I, as a legislator, wanted to go change that, there's no changing it without going through a constitutional amendment. It'd be a big deal. I can't just go up to Boise and vote on that and change it. So there's this cross-section that's happened where the argument against is that you're really taking horse betting and you're making it into a slot machine. Now, if that is the case, that's illegal, it's unconstitutional, and that will not be allowed, even if this measure passes. But I don't see it that way. I don't think that's what they're doing.
No.
I think what they're trying to do is take the parimutuel betting into a machine-type setting,
yes,
and utilize it that way. There are folks who make a lot of money off of gambling who do not like this measure because it's going to cut into the profits. I mean, I'm just telling you the way I see it. I think that we won't be done with this issue for a long time. That's my prediction. I think even if Prop 1 passes, we're going to see, I'm going to make a prediction that we're going to see a lot of time in court.
I agree.
Let's put it that way.
I agree. We have a caller with a question, Kelly. And caller, you're on the air. Please keep it short and succinct, if you would, please. Go ahead.
Okay, if horse racing is illegal, why is it that marijuana is legal?
All right, Kelly, the question is asked if horse racing is going to be illegal, or it's not really. Parimutuel racing is legal in the state of Idaho, but it's been basically condemned and dead. Why is marijuana legal? You want to refer back to the caller, please?
You bet. I'm happy to answer that. And so, and Zeb, you kind of touched on that. So actually, sir, what you find out in the Constitution is that the parimutuel horse racing is legal in Idaho. There's absolutely nothing illegal about it. That goes to the very fiber of our government outlay. This is how the Constitution was written. If you don't like horse racing, and I don't mean you, sir, but if a listener doesn't like horse racing, you've got a heavy hodoro because you got to get the Constitution of the Idaho Constitution changed. So horse racing is legal, but there have been moves to stop a digital kind of form of using it to stop competition in the gambling world.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is kind of the underpinnings of this. But the unfortunate result of this fight has been real damage to a traditional industry in the state of Idaho, and that is the horse industry.
Absolutely.
I'm not just talking racing. I'm talking about the raising of horses, the breeding of horses, the recreational use of horses, and so on.
Absolutely.
Now, to your point on marijuana, sir, it is illegal in the state of Idaho. It is absolutely illegal. I meet regularly. I've met recently with our state police, our Fraternal Order of Police, our Prosecuting Attorneys Association, and they plead with me not to let us go down the slippery slope of legalizing marijuana for recreational use. They don't believe that's going to be good for Idaho. So it's currently illegal, and some of these other states around us have made it legal for various purposes, and there's a variety of different laws there. You ought to take a look at Colorado and see how that's worked out for them. You know, what they will tell you is we got a lot more money in the coffers because we taxed it. I'm sure that's true. I don't know if that sells me on the concept.
Kelly, I've got to interrupt, and we've got to get a weather forecast on quickly, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to highlight and try to get into a little bit of Prop 2, so stay on the phone. I'll be right with you. Ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time for our weather, brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, and they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area, like I say every day, well over 50 years. The very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, payroll services. They know and they understand all about the changes in the tax rates and the changes in the deductions. They can and will help you, your family, and your business. Get a hold of them today. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some weather action for today as a storm is going to be rolling through. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a special weather advisory for today due to some scattered rain showers and isolated thunderstorms that could be moving through the area, especially this afternoon. Going to be mostly cloudy skies, and some of these thunderstorms that are going to roll through could produce some very gusty winds. We are expecting a high of 66 today, and winds could gust as high as 35 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy skies for this evening. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are going to continue. Partly cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms after midnight. Going to be breezy and colder, and some of those thunderstorms could produce gusty winds in the evening. Lows expected right around 36. Tomorrow, back to sunny skies. High of about 60. Friday night, mostly cloudy skies. Expecting more rain showers in the forecast with a low of 36. And by Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast, and expecting a high of 54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb.
She does a great job. Thank you, Gina. The weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. As I said, they can and they will help you, your family, and your business. They've been providing accounting services for well over 50 years with offices in Burley and Rupert. We're on the air right now with a dear friend of ours, Senator Kelly Anthon, and we just had about 8 minutes of talking about Prop 1, which is the horse racing issue. We've basically laid it out on the table as to what our thoughts are. Kelly, right now, in the time remaining, I want to shift gears and go over to Proposition 2. And I'm going to tell you that I probably average at least 6 to 7 calls a day after my program, people saying, wow, what about Prop 2? What does it do? What isn't it going to do? Is it good? Is it bad? How would you make a definition for Proposition 2, which is the Medicaid issue for the state of Idaho?
You know, a couple things. Number one, it doesn't surprise me you're getting those calls. And number two, I've watched and listened to you. I think you've done a really good job for our community in laying out the different sides of Prop 2. And I give you kudos for that because if you want to hear my characterization, it's a little bit crude, but I'll tell you what it is. To be honest with you, I think that with Prop 2, no matter where you step in a pile of manure. And I say that because there's no perfect good or bad side of that deal. Everyone comes with its own new set of problems, or we're keeping certain problems that we'd like to get rid of. It's a difficult issue, and it is certainly not one that I've even seen as either a conservative takes a position this way or that way. And so for you in the community, what you're seeing is you're seeing conservative county commissioners, you're seeing conservative sheriffs even, taking the position that the Medicaid expansion issue should be passed. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is, let me back up just a little bit. I think the premise for those of us who really do consider ourselves conservative is a very honest discussion about whether or not the government should be paying medical bills generally. And for those of us who get up and go to work every day, we don't especially like necessarily the idea that we're paying the medical bills for somebody who otherwise has the ability to go work and earn their own money. Okay, so I get all that, and I think that is kind of the foundation of this debate.
Right.
But the problem is, and here's the reality, if you take the position that you don't believe that taxpayer money should be paying those bills, first of all, I'll probably agree with you. And if you actually get into Idaho law, it says the same thing. If you go, I think it's Title 35 Idaho law. What it says is that each person, to the extent possible, is responsible for their own medical bills. That's Idaho law. But here's the reality. The reality is that right now you're paying for it. So when you look at the Medicaid expansion saying, well, I'm going to vote against it because I don't want to pay those bills, I get it. But I'm telling you, you're paying them anyway. And you're paying them. Talk to your county commissioners about this. They're paying indigent medical care. You're using, right now we're really debating which pot of money we should be using to pay medical bills for people who are not paying them. I've said I've recently left the board, but I was on the Cassia County Hospital Board for, I think, 10 years. And what astonished me every year was the amount of what they called charity care that they were paying. So people that would come in for services and just not pay. Now, some of those legitimately just didn't have the ability to pay. I totally appreciate that. But it doesn't change the fact that somebody's got to pay it at the end of the day. So when you have millions and millions of dollars of folks coming into the emergency room and not paying their bill, and that becomes charity care, I'm here to tell you that the rest of us, that when we go to the hospital to get our services, we're paying for it.
Right.
So this is a question about what's the best way to pay, the best way to deal with the situation that we're in. And here's the other part of this. I will tell you personally that I hate Obamacare. I'm not pro-Obamacare. I think it was a nightmare. I'd like to get rid of it. But Obamacare has created part of this problem that we're seeing dealt with in Proposition 2. Let me just give you an example. I could talk all day about this, and if you have folks listening who want to sit down with me, I'd be happy to sit down more and visit with you about this. But just in a nutshell, just as an example, when they passed Obamacare, they drastically changed, in my opinion, the way that our local hospitals, especially rural hospitals, are paid through the Medicaid and Medicare systems. So as an example, they lowered the amount of reimbursement that a local hospital like Burley or Rupert gets for Medicare reimbursement. And they did that because they planned on every state expanding Medicaid. So until Idaho expands Medicaid, we're essentially punished through Obamacare.
Mm-hmm.
And that means your local rural hospitals, they call them critical access hospitals, these small hospitals serving rural communities, they're now getting less in Medicare reimbursement and less in Medicaid reimbursement. So they're getting the short end of the stick on this deal. And that's why you're seeing groups like the Idaho Hospital Association who, they're looking out for hospitals. I get that.
Right.
They're supporting this because it's not so much that they're interested in the politics. They're interested in the bottom line. They're interested in stopping this bleeding of having to write off people who come in the hospital and don't pay and add that to your bill.
Kelly, I'm going to have to interrupt you, and I don't want to, but you can look at your watch, and I'm running short on time right now.
You bet.
Bottom line on Prop 2, I think, is something that needs to be discussed, and Wheels, watch that feedback, please, is something that needs to be discussed much more thoroughly, and I'd like to see right now if I couldn't get you to commit to come on the program next week for a full segment on this. Would you do that?
I would love to do that, Zeb. Let's check my calendar, and we'll see if we can get me back on.
Senator Anthon, I'm going to say this. I'm going to call you right after the program, if I can, and we'll try to establish that. But I want to tell you how much, Kelly, I appreciate your forward attitude on these issues, your very candid approach to giving the answers, and I really compliment you, and I'll be on the phone, and we'll set it up for next week.
My pleasure, Zeb. Thanks to all your listeners. It's an honor to serve Minnecaja. And so if there's something I can do, just give me a call.
I will do that.
My cell phone's 208-431-5863. So if there's listeners out there that need something, give me a call. Thanks, Deb.
Senator Kelly Anthon, and we just ran out of time, but he's such a dear friend. We're going to have him back on the air to talk about Prop 2 in its entirety this next week. Right now, I've got to tell everybody that they're probably a little bit hungry right now this time of the morning and starving to death. And I'll guarantee you, I know some great places you can go to solve that problem. Yes, sirree, Bob. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? All the pumpkin shakes and the black raspberry shakes and the red raspberry shakes. Ooh, that sounds good. Along with maybe a famous Farmer Brown burger and all the fries and the special sauce. Woohoo! All of that at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And don't forget then also some other great folks like Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness. They've got the pumpkin empanadas. Those are good. How about then also early in the morning, the breakfast burrito, scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage, cheese, tomatoes, sauce, all kinds of good things on a tortilla shell. What a great way to start the day at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Let's move over. I'm drooling. Let's move over to Burgers Etc. 2 locations, 124 South Oneida in Rupert, 700 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness. Start the week of Halloween. We're getting closer to that with a soup different every day at Burgers Etc. And they've got delicious shrimp dinners, and they've got huckleberry shakes. Wow. And don't forget that ham and cheese combo after 3 p.m. in the afternoon, only $4.99 at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. Holy cow! Delicious buffalo burgers, and they got that new spud called the Cheesy Broccoli Spud. That is good. And don't forget cupcakes, all kinds of great food at Steve-O's, along with really, really friendly servers waiting for you to come on in the door at Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. And those are just a few great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Boy, am I ever. We're about ready to go to CBS News. And after the news, we're going to have Cache County School Days. Dr. Shank is going to be on our program this morning. And our business salute is at 10:23. We've got Randy with Tires West, Les Schwab. And then at 10:32, a really good old friend of ours that's been on the show many, many times, Dr. Gerard Lamero. And we're going to be talking about this Kavanaugh mess, the Democrats, the stall tactics, everything. That's coming up at 10:32. Right now, we're going to send it over to Wheels. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh my, here we go into our last and third and final hour on this Thursday, October 4th already. My goodness sakes, what's going on here? Zeb at the Ranch, and of course I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley. Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a big fall tire sale going on right now. And then also some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They are always helping you get back to being you. Oh, my goodness sakes. Let's see. We got some other notes here. In just a moment, we're going to have Cassia County School Days. But before we go there, I want to remind you about our friends at Dino Septic Service. Oh, they do the job that you and I don't want to do. You don't want to stand out there and pump a septic tank. You don't want to clean out those sewer and sink drain lines. No. Well, they've newly can I start that all over? They've recently expanded, and they're better serving all the area. Dino Septic Service, and they want to remind you that you better get your pumping done before the ground freezes. Boy, they offer so many things like backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, septic inspections, liquid waste removal, all of this and more at Dino Septic Service. And, of course, you know the numbers, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. Fast, fair, friendly service serving you. Dino Septic Service, with that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. You get a hold of them today. Wow. Thank you very much for that. And I also want to urge you to remember that our program segment right now, called, of course, Cassia County School Days, sponsored by our friends at A Child's World. They have been with us from the get-go on this, and we really appreciate them. A family store, Child's World, at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got all the fall clothing and all the different gift-giving ideas, and they've got gift wrapping for free, and they carry the Cherokee scrubs and special orders. And you know what? All the games and the toys and the puzzles and the baby furniture and the baby clothing, all there for you at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, bringing you Cassia County School Days. Wheels, let me ask you, do we have Dr. Shank on the air?
Yes, sir, we do.
Very good. Let's say good morning to the superintendent, Dr. Shank, for the Cassia County School System. Sir, good morning and welcome back to our program.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Well, now that you've been sitting in the saddle, so to speak, for a couple of months, how are things as being the Cassia County superintendent?
Well, I'm enjoying it very much. It's exciting to be a part of Cassia County School District and the learning that occurs every day with our students and the good work that's going on in our communities.
I wanted to ask you, thanks to our dear friend Debbie Critchfield, we're going to be discussing PLCs. Now, I had no idea what that stood for, and then later in her note she says professional learning communities. What in the world are we going to discuss?
Okay. Professional learning communities are opportunities, or it's more than a meeting, I guess. But in bottom line, it's a meeting where teachers get together on a regular, routine basis to discuss 4 things about learning. And it's not just about the fact that they get together and discuss, but it's what it is that they are collaborating about, and did the collaboration have results in increased learning. So that's kind of the idea around it. But the notion is there are 4 questions. What do I want my students to know and be able to do? Very critical question when you're thinking about outcomes. How will I know when I've learned it, or when my students have learned it? And then the question is what will I do when the students haven't learned it? And then what do I do when they already know it? So those 4 questions are the tenets surrounding a professional learning community within small groups and individual schools, but also plays out in larger groups with respect to when we bring teachers in together and work at a district level on those 4 questions as well. And then also asking, anytime we do things like strategic visioning, strategic work with our communities, we should be asking those 4 questions of others as well. You know, what is it in our community that we want our students to be able to know and do while they're with us, but also post-graduation?
Okay, now, Now, I'm going to show some naivete on this, so bear with me. I'm assuming that maybe a history teacher from Raft River, or maybe another history teacher from Declo, and another history teacher from Burley High School, they would sit down and they can discuss how they could better help each other's needs and answer each other's questions, how to better teach a certain subject. Am I way off base on this?
No, you're right on. That's exactly part of it. It's looking at, as a group collectively, with teachers and finding out where it is that the gaps are in learning, and then figuring out what needs to be done to close those gaps.
Wow. Have you seen this in effect? Have you seen the outcome of what can happen here? Tell us about some of those stories.
Sure. Yeah, we've done this work in places where I've been in my prior history. And once teachers are trained in what it is that these meetings need to look like when they come together, results go up. And so when you think about it, you look at where we're at in math and performance. We go into these meetings and collectively work on it, and the results typically come because the focus is there. So I've seen it in the prior school districts that I've worked in. I've also, there's quite a bit of research out there that supports the effectiveness of PLCs, and they are not new. They've been around for a couple of decades now, and sometimes they get looking a little bit different. We get together, we talk about things, but not necessarily those 4 questions, and so that's the piece that we try to refine and work hard on.
Let me ask you this question. When these teachers get together, what's the criteria to start off the meeting to find out if someone has a better idea on teaching about Texas independence, or someone has a better idea about teaching about World War I and how we got into it? I mean, how do you set it up so that you kind of break the ice and everybody starts talking to each other?
Sure. Everybody has some sort of outcome after a lesson, or outcome after a quiz or a test, or these sorts of things, and you bring those results into those meetings with you. And then together you look at those and say, well, a teacher that's next door to me, you did better on this than my kids did. Do you have anything that you can share with me that helped that lesson go through? And so you walk out those strengths and weaknesses with any particular lesson or unit or whatever it is that is the topic of conversation. But you bring results in, you figure out what went wrong, and then collectively teachers will offer opportunities or different types of ideas to improve their instruction.
Dr. Shank, is this a mandatory meeting? And the reason I say that is, and I'm being blunt and honest when I just had a thought, some teachers might have an ego that says, no, I don't need to know, I don't need to pick somebody else's brain, I'm going to do it my way. How do you get everybody on the same page?
Well, you're right on with that. There are, at least in my past, I mean, I because I'm so new here, I don't know that those types of attitudes exist, but where I've been before, every now and then you'll run into an attitude of, well, I got great results, I'm doing a good job, I don't need to meet with people. But the idea is yes, I mean, we want this to be a part of what's embedded in the work expectations for our teachers.
I would imagine that with a renewed vigor, going back maybe with a fresh idea, they might be able to reach a lot of students that were just feeling like going to class was a waste of time.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, clearly there's that. I mean, you want to work on your craft. You want to be a master at your craft. And so using the best ideas, using the best activities where students engage and learn more should be about what it is that we're trying to accomplish.
What about other activities or different things that you're trying to implement in the Cassia County school system? Please tell us about those.
Well, we're getting prepared. I think we're going to head towards what oftentimes we'll refer to as a strategic revisioning. In other words, I think it's you have a new superintendent. We have a couple of new principals. We have we have 40 new staff members this year. That there are certain points in time where it's just time to take a look at how it is that we look at things, the types of things that we want to do, and revision, have a strategic look, ask our public, how are we doing, what is it that needs to be addressed, So that's one thing that I think that we'll be moving towards here pretty quickly. A couple of other types of things that I think people are aware of. We've been looking at facilities, and our school board is engaged in analyzing some recommendations that have come out of a citizens community group in terms of what needs to be built, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be remodeled, those types of things. And we're very close to having that work done. So that's pretty exciting. Other types of things, we've looked at our math results, and we're working on those. We want to see those go up. So there's been some collective types of looks at saying, hey, these are some things that we can do.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know if you had a chance to see this yesterday, but it was just so, I was just taken aback by the patriotism and the fervor for supporting the school, etc. I was watching television and caught about 3 or 4 segments when Fox News was at the College of the Ozarks back in Missouri. And the attitude of the students, and those students are selected to go and possibly get free tuition if they take a job in support of the college. And the attitude that these students had on patriotism and our Pledge of Allegiance and our country and learning a job, and when they get out of school being debt-free and going out into the workplace and being productive. Wow! That has to start in the lower grades, like in the elementary and high schools. Some of these kids just absolutely amaze me. What did you think, or do you think, of a concept like what they're doing at the College of the Ozarks?
Where when they're in system, they have at the end a job, is that, or I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Well, basically, they're going and they're working at the college, whether it's in the School of Agriculture, taking jobs in agriculture, or whether it's in the cooking part of it, learning how to be chefs, etc. But they're working and providing a service for the college, and they get free tuition. The point I bring up is, Dr. Shank, is that I think that there is more to going to college than just sitting on a curb and demanding that they have everything given to them. These kids are working hard and appreciating what this country's given back to them. And I said it's got to start in the elementary and high school ranks.
Okay, I see what you're getting at. Yeah. I mean, that's a great concept, and I think I don't know if you've heard of our machine operator apprenticeship program that we have partnered with High Desert Milk, McCain, and Fabrical. For our juniors and seniors. Seniors can too as well, but while they're with us in high school, they go to an early morning class and learn the skill sets necessary to work on the machines.
Right.
And then when they've gone through that, they actually have an apprenticeship with those corporations in the summertime, and it sets them up to take employment right after high school. So, they're connected in terms of that type of an environment, which is great, and I think it's pretty engaging when you think about it, because it's a homegrown product.
Absolutely.
And our kids can stay here.
I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. And real quick, I'm almost out of time. I got about 2 minutes left. I absolutely am excited. I had a father the other day tell me it's high time. I'm using his words. He said it's high time school systems started to realize that not all kids are college ready, and there's a lot of trade schools and trade jobs they need to learn today more than ever before. How would you respond to that?
Oh, I respond in this way. He's correct. Not everybody is interested in going to college. And college and going to a university and these sorts of things is admirable, but it's certainly not the only track that we would want everyone to take. I once heard a governor in the state of Washington speak and say we have to stop telling kids that when they don't go to college or succeed in college that they're a failure. There has to be other avenues for them to find success, and I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. We have a quick caller with a question. Caller, I'm down to a minute left. Real fast. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
People I know in this valley, and I deal with a lot of them, thank God. But they never went to college, and they were self-made men one of the things that concerns me, and everywhere I go, everybody tells me, we can't find anybody to do the job. Nobody works. The young people don't care to work, don't know how to work, don't want to work. Because of labor laws, they're not allowed to work when they're young and learn how to work. And, if we don't have somebody doing the work, labor crisis, and we shut this economy down, boy, that would be a dirty shame. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Dr. Shank. I've got just about 30 seconds left for your response.
Well, I apologize, Zeb. I could not hear the question.
Well, basically,
for me?
Yeah, I'll try to paraphrase it. I don't know why they didn't have it turned up so you could hear, but basically the caller was saying we've got to create a work ethic in these kids so that whether they go to college or a trade school, they want to hit the labor force and be productive members of our society.
Yeah, the question is great, and we do absolutely want that to occur. So there has to be opportunities for them to be able to engage in job opportunities so that they can acquire those soft skills, be able to know what hard work is, all of these sorts of things. That's beyond just the simple classroom. Not that the classroom's simple, but I think you know what I'm talking about. It's beyond learning it academically, but also getting in and knowing how to work.
Absolutely. Dr. Shank, I thank you, and I'll look forward to more meetings with you on this segment in the future. You're a real straightforward guy on these answers and questions, and I appreciate it. Dr. Shank with the Cassia County School System, the superintendent, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you much. Cassia County School Days brought to you by, of course, our friends at A Child's World, 1308 Overland and Burley. Don't forget, they've got everything, all the games, puzzles, toys, clothing, baby furniture, Cherokee scrubs. It's all there at A Child's World. Wow, we're running a little bit late, but we're going to hurry. And Wheels, do we have Randy Wynn ready to go?
I'm still trying to get him on.
Still trying to get him on the phone? Okay, we're going to talk to Randy momentarily with Tires West Schwab and find out a little bit more about their great big fall tire sale and about a lot of other items. Don't forget that at 10:30 we've got Dr. Gerard Lamero, and he's going to be coming on our program, and he's got another book called More Great News for America, so we're looking forward to that. Did we get him?
Yes, sir, we did.
All right, my friend and fellow football aficionado, only he likes the Seattle Seahawks and I like the Green Bay Packers. Randy Wynn, Tires West, Les Schwab, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you today, Zeb?
Not too bad. Before we get into the real serious nature of our call this morning, your Seahawks and my Packers, I don't think we're going to get a chance to see any repeats at the Super Bowl. Do you?
Well, I don't think so either. The Seahawks have all they want this week. We host the L.A. Rams up in Seattle. That might be pretty tough. So, no, I think the Seahawks are... Packers probably have a better chance than the Seahawks, but we'll see what happens. So.
Randy, talk to us a little bit about tires. Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, big tire sale going on. And a lot of people out there, maybe they think, well, gee, what do I do to check my tires? How do I know if the tires maybe need changing? How do I know if I've gone too far on the tread and it's dangerous? I mean, what would you tell people they need to look for?
Well, obviously, we try to look for cracks in between. If they've been on for a while, in between the tread blocks, there's sort of cracks, little microscopic cracks. So when they're out on the road and the heat builds up, that causes or can cause a blowout, a tread separation, something like that. So we look at that, and then you can look at the alignment wear. If it's wearing on the edge of the tire, on the inside or the outside, that's a good thing to check as well. And just the overall tread depth. You know, if it's getting down to 4, 3, 2, 30 seconds. An inch of tread, it's probably time to change them. So, and if anybody has any questions, they can come into any of the Les Schwab tire stores, and we're glad to check them out for them and see what shape they're in.
You know, the last time I had you on, we were talking about tires, etc., and then after the interview, after the program, somebody called me and they said, why are there so many different tread designs on various tires, whether for their cars or their pickups or SUVs? Why is that, Randy? I mean, does it all kind of pertain to different driving conditions and environment? Tell us about that.
Oh, absolutely, Zeb. There's a couple of reasons. First is there's so many applications. People, you know, around here there's gravel that people drive on with their SUVs and their passenger cars, so we've got to take into account that. Some people just are on the freeway a lot, so they want a higher mileage tire. And some people just want economics. Right now, their budgets are tight, so they want to put a cheaper price tire on. So we have, for that reason, we have different treads available too. So it's really application and also the budget that people want in their cars. In an older car, they may not want to put a very good tire on either. So just an entry level. So there's a lot of different reasons for the different tread designs.
And basically, whether it's for a car, a pickup, SUV, or any kind of a trailer, you've got all the different tires right there.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our fall tire sale going on right now, Zeb, at all the Les Schwab stores. And there's plenty on sale right now. We have that Cooper Road Control. That's a Les Schwab-owned tire that's on sale. That's a 65,000-mile warranty. We have the Toyo line that's on sale, the 70,000-mile Eclipse. And then in the SUV and pickup tires, we have the Cooper Backcountry on sale. That's a Les Schwab-owned tire. And then we have the Toyo Open Country that's on sale as well. So we have the premium tires for the next 2 months that are well-priced. And then, of course, the tires we talked about, the application with the gravel, those are on sale too if somebody's on a lot of gravel. We have the harder rubber compound tires that will take care of that application for people as well.
We're coming into a season right now where you get up in the morning and go outside to go to work, and you turn the key, and all of a sudden with the cooler and colder temperatures, you're not going anywhere. How do people know whether their battery needs replacement or not? Give us some tips on battery care.
Well, first off, you look under the hood and if you see corrosion coming off the terminals, that's even just a little bit. That's one sign for sure. And then on the side, there's stickers that show the date that battery was manufactured. And if it's 4, 5, 6 years old, you may be all right, but it's probably starting to get a little weak. So that's another way to look. And we can come into any Les Schwab store and we can put a battery tester on what we call a load test on that battery and go from there and see what kind of shape it's in, if you need replaced or not. And you're right, this time of year we're changing batteries, and we've got a bunch of I've got a few pallets of batteries coming in the next couple of weeks because we're starting to see more people have issues because of the weather.
Randy, I can't tell you how much we appreciate your sponsorship of our program, and all 7 locations of the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers have been absolutely excellent to work with. But this time of the year, be ready for the bad weather, the ice, the snow, the slush. They need to get in there and make sure they're ready for winter, right?
Oh, absolutely. We just got 2 weeks ago, Zeb, our semi-trailer full of snow tires that we've unloaded and put away, and our chains. So, yeah, we're ready. And like I said, the batteries are coming. So all the stores around here are stocked up and inventoried. So we're waiting, in another month or so, or whenever the first snow comes, we're definitely ready for when that happens.
My friend Randy Wynn with Tires West Les Schwab, right there on Overland and Burley, representing all of our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Randy, God bless you, man, and thanks for taking the time to come on our show.
Oh, thank you, Zeb. We appreciate you. You do a great job for us, too, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. One of the nicest people you could ever want to work with, Randy Wynn, right there. We appreciate him being on our television, our radio program for this morning. I look at the camera up here on the computer and said television. I'm sharp. Anyway, thank you very much, Randy Wynn. Right now, we're going to send this back over to our main studios and wheels at the main cog in the wheel, if you will, and we're going to be back in about 3 minutes with a really nice man, Dr. Gerard Romero. Don't you miss this.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I said this the other day on the program, and I'm going to say it again. I have my favorites that I really enjoy having on my program because I know they're going to give us straight answers and they're going to talk about the issues and give a straight, definitive look as to what needs to be done or what not to do. And this next gentleman that's coming on the program again this morning is one of those people, and I really appreciate him. He's written a lot of books. The latest one, More Great News for America. I've got it highlighted and all dog-eared and almost all ripped up. I tell you what, I've read it 100 times. Dr. Gerard Romero, good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing great, and it's great to be with you. You're a fine gentleman and an outstanding person. across the country in terms of talk radio hosts. You're one of my favorites.
Well, God bless you, sir, and thank you so much. And there's so much in your books that if you want to pick and choose different areas, different chapters, etc., that are so applicable to what's going on today. But I wanted to start right now with our conversation about this mess. And I call it a mess. I call it a cesspool that's going on with the possible appointment of Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court and the knuckle and foot dragging by the left, the Democrats, with all these delays. Please, I'd like to know your take on this issue.
Well, of course, I think it was handled terribly, but that seems to be the Democrats' method of operating these days. They have been taken over by the radical left. They're having their constituents, the people who used to be long-term Democrats, abandoning them. There's something called the pound sign walkaway movement, which is Democrats walking away from the Democratic Party because they can't tolerate them anymore. And in terms of Kavanaugh, I think he will be voted up. He will be approved by the senators, about 53 of 54 votes. I think that's going to happen Saturday, possibly Sunday, very, very soon, because they now have the FBI report. The FBI report is like everything else. There's absolutely no evidence this gentleman ever did anything wrong. Maybe Professor Blasey Ford has a bad memory. Maybe she had something terrible happen to her, but she didn't know who really did it. I don't know what her story truly is, but there's absolutely no evidence to back it up. And you can't convict a person in the court of public opinion without any evidence.
Dr. Lamero, let me ask you this. Have you ever, in all of your career and your writings, have you seen a point of America right now that we're at where there is so much animosity, there is so much degradation of respect for each other? Have you ever seen this before?
Not in my lifetime. I think the Civil War, in some ways, was similar, where people in the South at that time really were pro-slavery and put up, a lot of issues with the North over it. But I've never seen anything like it in my time. But I think these people are just outright socialists, Marxists. Some of them even are willing to tell you they're communists. So these are people who are against our Constitution, against our rule of law, and against our way of life, and they don't want to obey the results of elections. And you know what's going to happen? This party, the Democratic Party, is going to go out of business because they can't exist if everybody keeps walking away from them because they're so radical.
You made in your book a prediction that the Democratic Party, and I'm going to read a quote. It's funny how you led me right into this. I'm looking at the page number 169 in your book. You made this statement: the Democratic Party will cease to exist as one of America's two major parties within a few years. Explain why you said that.
Yeah. Well, any political party has different constituent components. It has if you will, the training of candidates. It has financial donations. It has a lot of different things it needs. It needs leadership. It needs vision, like any organization. And all of the key components of a political party are in decline within the Democratic Party. Now, what I do in my research is I follow the trends. I follow the numerical trends. I follow the bigger trends. And the Democratic Party is trending down. It continues to trend down. It is possible, Zeb, that next year the Democratic Party will shut down as an organization, completely shut down, not change its name, just give up and go away. The Whig Party was very famous in the 1800s. It elected presidents. It did really well, but it went out of business. I think we're seeing the Democratic Party right before it goes out of business. And I don't know for sure if it'll end next year. It's hard to pick an exact date for when it goes out of business. But within a few years, it will be out of business. And I will make this other little prediction. It is entirely possible, Zeb, that the Democratic Party will never run another presidential candidate because they'll be out of business before 2020.
Okay. With that being said, also in your book, you said that you think that the Republican Party will also split in the next 2 years. Explain that and what will happen with that split.
Yeah, well, first of all, the Democratic Party, in my prediction, is not going to split. It's going to go out of business. The Republicans, though, have a big divide. You know, like I think of California and the San Andreas Fault, the famous fault line. The Democrats, the Republican Party has a fault line. There are conservative Republicans, traditional, pro-Constitution conservatives, and then there are kind of liberal Republicans that are a little bit like Democrats used to be. I think that most people are going to call themselves Republican, and what will happen is the Republican Party will split. Part of it will become the Conservative Party. Another part of it will become sort of Republican Progressive Party. And that will have the more, if you will, liberal people, but they're not going to be radical socialists. They're just going to be more liberal, like the Democrats used to be. So that's what I see happening. But between the two of them, the American people are trending toward conservatism. So the conservatives are going to be the dominant party. The Republican progressives will be kind of the loyal minority.
You made a statement on the same page 168 in your book that you said that you believe we're going into what's called the conservative era. I really piqued my interest because, man, I would love to see some conservative thought. I would like to see more of an American value system re-implemented, more of a family system, more of a patriotic system of really looking at that flag with tears in our eyes and be proud that we live in the United States of America. Do you really think we can get back to that?
Yeah, absolutely, because I think that's where most people are. You know, the Democrats and the radicals that have taken over that party, and also the media, which has a lot of radicals in it, they don't give you that kind of message. But that's the message that's in the hearts of the American people. I call it the DNA of the American people. And in that DNA is morality in government. They want morality in government. They want freedom. They don't want their freedoms taken away. They want their right to keep and bear arms. They want their right of free speech, etc. And then there's in the DNA, they want peace in their cities. They don't want their police attacked. And then they want peace around the world. We don't want to be in wars. And then there's also in the DNA prosperity. We want a healthy economy. We don't want tons of regulations. We don't want socialism. So I think people are rediscovering it. And one of the most optimistic things I'll tell you today, and that is that I found that the millennials, these are the young people who've gone through school, they've listened to some of these far-out professors and stuff, believe it or not, they're coming out with an education that says socialism's wonderful, which it isn't. But when they get to the real world and they get a job and they pay taxes and they think about maybe getting married, they start to think, hey, those basic conservative principles work. So we're seeing a certain group of millennials switching from being far-out socialists that they heard about a lot in school to now wanting to be conservatives. And I think overall, there's a conservative trend even among older Americans, and I mean older meaning older than millennials, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and on, because they see that all the promises of the Democratic Party have been a lot of hot air. They promise free this, free that, and some people say, oh, great, the government's going to give me everything for free and tax those bad guys who make money, those rich people. Well, they're starting to realize that those government programs don't live up to their promises, and they're saying, hey, I just want to go back to regular basics and have my freedom and have the freedom to make decisions and things, and have the freedom to pick by doctors, things like that. So America is moving in a direction toward conservatism, and it's going to keep playing out for several years, and you're going to see a lot of good things happen.
Again, mentioning that you had 4 points in the book that you said are the new conservative enlightenment, and they return to the faith in God, the renaissance of reason, the restoration of education, and the rebirth of morality, freedom, peace, and prosperity. Wow, when I read that, it gave me hope and optimism that maybe we can turn this bus around before it falls over a cliff.
Absolutely. The American people want to turn it around, and they've been doing it since 2010. In 2010, there were 63 House seats that went to the Republicans. But not all those Republicans were conservative enough to do what the American people wanted. So they've been moving forward. They've been changing the Senate. They changed the president and that. And once again, in this election, they're going to get rid of a bunch of liberals that are going to be replaced by more conservative folks. And I see a lot of good elections among all the different elections where we're getting rid of people who are these far-left folks and replacing them with conservatives. The trend is our friend, and the trend is going to continue conservative, and it's going to start having a big effect on education because people are fed up with denying people the freedom of speech in universities, and you're going to see it in a return to faith in God because they know that's what's important in life. And they're also getting rid of junk science because they know that they've been fooled with things like climate change, which there isn't any evidence. Brett Kavanaugh, there's no evidence he did anything wrong. Well, there's also no evidence to support climate change. That's another hoax of the left.
Dr. Lamero, when you talk, I just get so excited because I think, man, oh man, I hope we can get back to these value systems. But, the one thing I'm really concerned about is the Democrats and the left are saying, the November midterms, it's going to be a blue wave. But yet everybody I've talked to, whether in Washington, D.C. or Sacramento, California, etc., instead of a blue wave, it might only be a leaky bathroom toilet because I'm not seeing that blue wave.
I think I first heard about the blue wave last November or December, and back then I wrote an article and I said, there is no blue wave. What are they talking about? There's no blue wave. And you know what? I said then there's no blue wave. And right now, as we've gone through 2018, this year, any chances of a blue wave keep going lower and lower. And right now, literally there's no blue wave, there's no blue ripple, there's no blue drip, and there are some blue bubbles. Blue bubbles are districts, congressional districts, that have been Democrat forever, it seems like, or a long, long time. And even some of those blue bubbles are bursting because the Democrats are abandoning the Democratic Party. And it's phenomenal. Take a look at San Antonio, Texas area. That was just a state Senate race recently. That seat had been Democrat for 139 years. That's a long time. And do you know what? Some new guy, new conservative, decided to run, and he went in there, was pro-Trump policies. Senator Cruz went and spoke on his behalf. He beat the Democrats, and the Democrats were in a state of shock because they lost that blue district. That blue bubble burst. And there are other districts around the country where the blue bubble is going to burst, and those people in Washington who think, these people are going to get elected automatically, it's always Republican, blah, blah, blah. And you find out, guess what? They're wrong because they don't know what the people are doing. Some of these districts, believe it or not, they've taken polls, and the polls aren't that accurate lately, but they've taken polls last March, and they were doing okay, and so they think they're just automatically going to win. They don't realize that the numbers have been turning against them for the rest of the year, and the Brett Kavanaugh thing has really hurt them. Believe it or not, Brett Kavanaugh is costing the Democrats now 25,000 votes a day. every day that they don't support Brett Kavanaugh, they lose another 25,000 votes.
Do you believe, I'm almost out of time, but do you believe that this man, Brett Kavanaugh, will be voted on and will attain that seat on the Supreme Court, but also tie in what devastation has been done to him and his family? It's been enormous.
It's terrible how he's treated. It's un-American. It's unfair. It's just terrible that the Democrats will do anything to try to keep their power, but they're losing their power, and they're not going to keep it. Brett Kavanaugh, by my numbers, is going to win 53 or 54 votes, and he's going to sail in there, and next week he's going to be sworn in as the newest justice of the Supreme Court. And in terms of his reputation, most people are going to forget about it because there's never any evidence against him.
Right.
It was just that one lady who seems to think he did something, but there's no evidence. Her story, her best friend didn't know about it, even though supposedly she was there or nearby or something. I mean, there's no evidence. How do you convict a person with no facts? Even that nice lady from Arizona who was questioning her, who's a prosecutor in sexual cases, she said, I wouldn't bring a case. There's no facts here.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, it's true. This man, Dr. Gerard Lamero, is America's #1 political analyst, and I'm so proud to have him on my program. Dr. Lamero with a great book, More Great News for America. God bless you, sir, and I can't wait to have you come back on the air.
Well, God bless you, and God bless all your wonderful listeners, and I can't wait to get back again because I love your show.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, and I'll be in touch. God bless. Thanks.
God bless.
All righty. Dr. Gerard Lamero, and he's pretty sharp and written quite a few books, and you know what? Most all of his predictions politically, yep, he hit them right on the head. Oh, my goodness, we've got to get a weather forecast on here. Wheels is getting nervous over there. We're running out of time, and the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website and find out a whole bunch more about all their delicious meats, scarrowsmeats.com. Absolutely marinated pork ribs and tri-tips and prime ribs, and the list goes on and on. The buckboard bacon and the bratwurst. It's delicious. Scarrows Meats, North Road, Jerome. Absolutely. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some weather action for today as the storm is going to be rolling through. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a special weather advisory for today due to some scattered rain showers and isolated thunderstorms that could be moving through the area, especially this afternoon. Going to be mostly cloudy skies, and some of these thunderstorms that are going to roll through could produce some very gusty winds. We are expecting a high of 66 today, and winds could gust as high as 35 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy skies for this evening. Isolated rain showers and thunderstorms are going to continue. Partly cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms after midnight. Going to be breezy and colder, and some of those thunderstorms could produce gusty winds in the evening. Lows expected right around 36. Tomorrow, back to sunny skies. High of about 60. Friday night, mostly cloudy skies. Expecting more rain showers in the forecast with a low of 36. And by Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, 50% chance of rain showers in the forecast, and expecting a high of 54. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Gina, thank you. Great job, as she always does. And it's brought to us this hour, the weather by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number again, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Wow, a lot of things going on. High school football this weekend. Get out and support your favorite team. And I know tonight, Kimberly, who does Kimberly play tonight? My grandson, Dawson, playing, of course, on Kimberly's team. They play Wood River. And that's tonight instead of tomorrow night. Want to remind you, earlier we had Randy Wynn on with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they are having a huge, right now, big fall tire sale. Oh, my goodness sakes, yes. All your car tires, your pickup tires, SUV tires, trailer tires, everything. Tires like the Eclipse tire for your car, premium traction, superior ride quality, It's on sale right now at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget to the best in brake service and front end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries like we were talking about. Now's the time to make sure that you're ready for the cold and colder weather. You stop in at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and check out the Great Big Fall Tire Sale with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, the best. Wow, great week. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of the program. Again, going back to Tuesday, my birthday, thank you for all the kind remarks, the cards, everything else. Thank you, thank you. We'll be back next Monday at 8:06 with more. Zeb at the Ranch right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com, where we always wrap up the program by saying, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the world needs more cowboys. See you next Monday at 8:06.